Always. Say that one more time. Just remember that you...
Hey y'all, it's me, dacheca, and so let's go ahead and get into some frequency braids with me. We're going to do the tutorial. We're going to talk about it a little bit, all right? So, first things first, I just want to say thank y'all, each and every single one of y'all that clicked that like button to this video and click that subscribe to my page, because we are here, we are lit, we are live. For real though, welcome. All right, let's get into it. I'm not going to bore y'all too much. All right, first things first, to the viewers that saw my other two videos that I was already posted, it was like maybe about 400 viewers, but y'all still matter, though, each and every single one of y'all. So the ones that did see it, I want y'all to know that I deleted those videos because I realized when I rewatched them, they're not giving enough information. It's just plainly not giving enough information, and then that is also contributing and leading to a whole bunch of people thinking that these are butterfly braids, or you could just get the same results by just doing what you do with butterfly braids, and it's completely not the same. And also because I also knew I was going to post this video, and I wanted this just to be the one that had all the information and everything, so that there aren't so many different tutorials and videos and people not knowing which one is the right one to watch. So I just cut them all out, and we're just going to get it down to just one video, all the information, everything. And then also, it's because as time has gone on, I've learned multiple things through trial and error when it comes to doing my frequency braids. And there's just things I just got to tell y'all, because this can be done wrong and it can look ugly if it's done wrong. So we will get into that. But I just want to let y'all know about the deleted videos. Okay. I know I haven't posted in a while. I know. Frequency braids, at least. If you've been up with my Instagram and stuff like that, you can see that I've been posting wigs and stuff like that. But I haven't posted in a while when it comes to the frequency braids, because for one, I cannot wear, at that time I was wearing braids all the time, and I could not wear braids all the time because my hair was breaking. It was breaking, and I had to stop wearing braids so I could treat my hair and to take care of it. And now my hair, it is good. It's good. We're all good. And also, I was just figuring things out in life, and then also I had to go and take some time to learn a new skill. And for me to take some time to learn a new skill, I knew there were certain things that I couldn't do when it comes to type of content that I could record. And the skill that I was learning, if y'all saw on my Instagram, was learning how to make wigs. And the whole reason I learned how to do that was so I could learn how to make braided wigs, so I could eventually make frequency braided wigs. And it's a whole thing. Anyways, like I said, I'm playing, not playing, but I'm, like I said, it's the long game, because everything I do is for the longevity of my life. It's not for short-term results, but for long-term results. Okay. All right. You know, long-term, it's always the goal for me, because me, at the end of the day, my life is going to keep going, and I like to look at the future in the next 5 years and then the next 10 years. Where am I going to be? Where is this going to be? Where am I going to be doing this? Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes I think too much, honestly, but that's just how it is sometimes. So I had to make sure I learned other skills as well for where I'm going in my life. And then also, hair is not the only thing that I do, you know. So there's hair, I write, music, dance, like there's a lot that you guys don't know, but outside of hair, because I haven't really posted much about it, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there eventually. But anyway, let me stop talking and yapping y'all ears off, and let's continue. Let's keep the video going. All right, so firstly, frequency braids are not butterfly braids, and they're not jungle braids. I'm going to explain it a little bit. But first, if you want to go ahead and just skip on to the tutorial, go ahead and skip on to the tutorial. I'm going to have the timestamp below of where you can go to skip on to where I just start the tutorial, and you could just go ahead and get on with that if you don't really care to hear their explanation or whatever the case may be. But first, we are going to talk about this. So, you got butterfly braids. You got jungle braids. Frankly, I think they both look like each other way more than frequency braids look like butterfly braids or jungle braids, but I digress. So from looking at jungle braids, butterfly braids, and looking at the different styles, I looked at them on Instagram, looked at them on TikTok, and I was looking through them, and I'm like, these look absolutely nothing like frequency braids, but they give the same whimsical feeling and that whimsical finish, that like puffy-ish type of whimsical look to all three of them when they're all finished. And that would be why, at first glance, if you don't actually take the time to look at the details of the hairstyle, then yes, it could look like that. Absolutely. Absolutely, I get that. But these are absolutely not the same. The technique is different. And if you try to do frequency braids technique to get butterfly braids, you're not going to get it. If you try to do butterfly braids, jungle braids technique to get frequency braids, you're not going to get it. The results are going to be completely different. They all look whimsical. They're all beautiful styles, but they're going to look completely different. The results are going to be completely different, and the time that it's going to take to do it is going to be completely different. Because when I say frequency braids takes time, it takes time. And if it's a thing as to where you're just braiding and then just pulling tiny bits at the end, that's not frequency braids, and that's not how I do them. That is not how I get the results that I get at all. Okay, so it's not that. But another thing that I want to go into is the caption that I wrote on TikTok on the first ever video that I posted. So I'm going to go ahead and read this caption, and I'm going to read it to y'all how I wrote it, because how you guys are reading it how you feel like you think it sounds. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to clarify this for you guys. So I made this video a few days ago and I posted it, and it did numbers on IG and got mixed comments, and I didn't realize how controversial this was. Eventually, the creator of Butterfly Braids said it's not that serious and she loved the hair, and I was scared to post this because so many people had something to say when I first posted about these being butterfly or jungle braids, and I was scared because I didn't want to be seen as someone who steals ideas, because I don't do that. And I genuinely came up with this on my own, and the look that I wanted was kind of whimsical and chaotic. Oh my god. I see exactly why y'all think what y'all think. Yo, this is so out of order. No, I did not proofread this after I wrote it. Listen. All right, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna explain this to y'all. I'm gonna explain this to y'all because I see why y'all think the way that y'all think. Not all of you guys. There was some of y'all. There was a lot of y'all who understood what I was trying to say, but I'm explaining it for the ones who didn't understand what I was trying to say. All right, so oh my gosh, I need to, oh my gosh, okay, and I can't, and then the fact that somebody thought that I edited the comment. I wish I could have edited this shit. I wish I could have edited this shit. Oh my gosh, that is so bad. Okay. Anyways, so I posted the tutorial on my YouTube, and I'm explaining how it's not the same in the theme I have behind what I created, and I know some of y'all won't care, and I'm still gonna continue to hate on it, but I'm gonna stand on what I created because I love the way it turned out. That means something to me, and everyone has an opinion. Okay, so let's go get to the beginning. So I made this video a few days ago and posted it, and it did numbers on IG and got mixed comments, and I didn't realize how controversial this was. Eventually, the creator of Butterfly Braids said it's not that serious. So this is the second time that I posted this. The first time I posted it because when I did this, I was reading y'all comments, but in my head, I was thinking of the first caption. All right, sorry about that, y'all. So I was reading y'all's comments, and I was thinking of the first caption that I wrote because I completely forgot. This is not the first time I posted this. So this is the second time I posted this story, and I was making a comment based off of the first time that I posted. And what I mean by that, so when I first made this video and I first posted it on TikTok, it started getting traction really fast. Like it started to pick up real quick, and the comments that I was mainly noticing was, it was saying how these are butterfly braids, these are butterfly braids, these are butterfly braids. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if these are butterfly braids, I'm not gonna be somebody who steals some shit, because if these are butterfly braids, and it's it. So I deleted the video. I deleted the video because it was gaining traction fast, and I didn't want it to go viral, and it's something that I stole. You feel me? That's not me. So I deleted the video, and then I went to go and look up butterfly braids, and I did it fast because I could have looked them up before I deleted the video, but I deleted the video first because, like I said earlier, it was gaining traction really, really fast. So I didn't want it to go viral if it wasn't like authentic, right? So I go and I look up jungle braids, and then I look up butterfly braids, and I'm like, these don't look nothing like my frequency braids. Like, they don't look nothing like my frequency braids. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, F y'all, because y'all just hating. So then I posted it again. I posted it on Instagram, and then I posted it on TikTok. And it kept getting traction. And then that's when, and when I posted it again, is when I posted this second caption. And the second caption is, I was talking about how I made this. It got mixed comments. It was controversial. That was when the creator of butterfly braids on my Instagram on there, she went on there and she commented, and she even said that y'all are doing too much, because that's not it. That's not butterfly braids, and y'all are doing too much. Y'all were doing too much. And then I went and did my own little research, and then some people were saying, oh, these were butterfly locks and stuff. I'm like, so I went and did my own little mini research, and I went to look up the creator of the butterfly locks, the creator of butterfly braids, and all of them. Looked at their Instagrams, looked at all of these things, looked at the comments even, and even in their comments, some of y'all were on their comments talking bad about them and saying that, oh, they stole it from the 90s. And it's like, what is up with y'all in these assumptions? Because it's like, as soon as a woman creates something, y'all have an issue with it. So anyways, so my caption was going based off of this. So that's why I say that many people had something to say when I first posted it about these being butterfly or jungle braids. And at first I was scared, because I didn't want to be seen as someone who steals ideas, because I don't do that. And that's what I was referring to. I was referring to the first time that I posted it. The first time that I posted it, I was scared, because I'm like, I don't want this to go viral, and it coming and it's being the thing is to where I'm just lying and these are not mine. So the first time I deleted the video because of that. And that's probably why some people thought that I changed the caption, because they saw the video the first time and then saw it again when I reposted it. But when I reposted it, I didn't have the first caption saved, so it's not like I just could copy and paste it. So I tried to go off of my memory and to write the old caption, but also mix it in with like new information with the IG thing and all of that, with the girl who created the butterfly braids. And it just did not pan out well, because rereading this, it does sound confusing. It does sound confusing. So, and I didn't really take a second look to proofread the second caption, because I thought it was just like the first. So that is that. So I wanted to go ahead and explain that, and to kind of give y'all a little bit of a backstory on that whole situation and kind of what was going on. My bad, y'all. My battery is low. My bad. Okay, my bad, y'all. My battery is low. It was giving me a low battery warning. But anyways, so I just told myself I'm just gonna keep posting, keep creating, and because they're not gonna care what I have to say anyway. But took me some time. But I got over that, and that's why I'm here now talking about it. And if I am to, I would want to post something on TikTok and Instagram, but there's time limits there, and it's going to take me too long to explain on TikTok, because as you could see, this is like probably took like a good 10-15 minutes to talk about it. So yeah, but we're here. I'm good. We're all good. And now I could just continue because and I'm really happy for all of the supporters and the people that did see the vision, and they did see that I was not just stealing something or just trying to be messy or whatever else the negative comments are saying, because one thing about me is I'm very, very genuine in my truth, because my truth is my most important thing to me. So, and it's damn near all I have. So now, anyways, let's go on and let's move on to the next thing. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the next thing. Now that we've got that out the way, I hope that gave y'all an explanation. And if not, I don't know what to tell you, because that's my truth. So, all right, so it's one more story time before we get into the tutorial. So this story time is, people have been asking me how I came up with the idea for frequency braids, and so here it is. I'm gonna try to be as quick as I can. So I came back from Texas, and I came back from Texas to Florida to stay with my mom for a little bit. I had a lot going on in life, just a lot going on in life, to where it was tough. So I came back to stay with my mom for a little bit, and I was still kind of like down and depressed or whatever, and then randomly out of nowhere I got pneumonia. I had gotten pneumonia, and I felt like I was dying. I couldn't breathe. So multiple times I stutter, y'all. So over time it got worse. At first I thought it was just something. I thought it was just random chest pain. So I did what I could. I did everything that I could to try to fix it, and then eventually it got worse to the point to where I ended up having to go to the hospital, because I couldn't breathe, and I was having chest pains to where I couldn't breathe. It was bad. And I was in the hospital, and I was thinking that I was going to pass away, that I was like, oh, these just might be my final days. And so, and I've always wanted to create something. I've always wanted to create something, you know. And multiple things, mostly because it's a part of me. I am a creator. It's in my blood, and it's in my bones. And if I'm not creating things, I feel like I'm dying. So, and I had always wanted to kind of come up with like a braid pattern or a style, something, you know. I had always wanted to come up with a braid pattern or style, but I just didn't know how to do it. Sorry about that, y'all. I gotta get my phone charger. But so I was thinking to myself, okay, these might be my final days. And I'm like, but I want to leave behind something. I've always wanted to leave behind something. You know, I don't have children and stuff. I want to leave behind something. And at the time, it was mostly hair that I was doing with my content. Of course, there was other content and stuff that I was doing, mostly hair. And I wanted to do something with hair. You know, I didn't know what, but I wanted to do something. And so I was thinking to myself, well, how can I create something in a place where multiple things have already been created? It's so vast. And I'm like, it's hard. Getting into the hair industry is not easy, you know. And so I started I'm forgetting about that, you know, and I just started just thinking about just life, you know, just life. And what would I do, you know, with my life, you know? And so I looked to the left of me, right? And I started looking at the EKG machine. So I was laying flat. The EKG machine was to the left of me. And all I was hearing was those monitors. Boop, 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 boop. And me, I'm always a person who's naturally curious. I'm always looking at things, and I'm always looking at my surroundings, and I like to see everything, patterns of everything, and I just like to look at all things. And so I'm looking at the EKG machine, and I'm looking at these lines, and I'm like, those are a really cool pattern. In my mind, I'm like, that would be really dope if I could turn that into something that I could wear, you know? And then that's when it hit me. Because then at first I was thinking to myself, well, how am I going to turn braids into triangles because of that super sharp shape? I'm like, how can I get that? Because I wanted it to replicate the EKG machine, because in that moment it hit me. I can literally create my heartbeat. Like, that's the way I looked at it. It's like I'm taking a visual representation of my heartbeat and I'm making it come to life. That's the way I looked at it. And so then from then on, I started trying to figure out a way to make it come to life in my mind. And then after that, I started getting better. The only thing that the nurse gave me and stuff, she gave me some morphine. I think it was morphine. I'm not sure. I can't be sure. But she gave me something for the pain because it was really, really bad. And then she gave me something for inflammation to, get the swelling down because there was swelling around my chest. But they said it was in the wrong place because the usual place that pneumonia is typically supposed to be at, it wasn't there. And it was weird for them also because typically that doesn't happen as somebody of at my age. So it's like this doesn't happen with young people. If it happens, it's usually with older people. So the whole thing was weird to them. Whole thing. And my mind, and I'm very, very in tune with source and I'm very spiritually inclined. So I was like, this means something. There's something more important to this. There's a reason. This means something, And so after that is when I started kind of trying to work on a way to figure it out. And then that's when I figured out to tweeze like the hair out, that I could like pull it out. But then I realized that's not enough. It's not enough. And so that's when I started coming up with frequency braids, and then eventually trials and errors. And then even the first video I posted was in a way a trial and an error also, because like I said, they shrunk. So, but it still eventually worked out. and then I came up with the name Frequency Braids way after. It wasn't until I was chilling with my ex, right? And we weren't together at the time. We were literally just moving. He had a moving company and I was helping him do a move for somebody, and he was paying me. And so we were taking a break. We took a break and we were just chilling. And at the time, while we were doing the move, I'm literally working on my braids, like trying to figure it out, doing my braids, and he asked me about it. And then that's when I told him, and he was like, oh, it kind of remind me of them. And then that's when, as soon as he said that, in my mind, I was like, frequency waves? He was like, he said something else, but in my mind, he was like, frequency wave? I was like, yeah, frequency waves. And then I promise you, in that split second, as soon as the both of us was like frequency braids, we both looked at each other and was like, frequency braids. Not my bad. Frequency waves. As soon as he said frequency waves, we both looked and we were like, frequency braids. Oh shit. I promise you, it was like a movie moment. She was crazy. It was crazy. And then from then on, I was like, frequency braids. And I almost changed them. There was another name that I had because it looked more whimsical and fairy-like. So I wanted to name them something like fairy-like and whimsical-like. And it was a different name that I had for it. And I completely forgot, because as soon as frequency braids came in, they stuck. It was stuck on there. And then I posted it. And now here we are. And the fact that it goes viral so fast every time tells me that there's more to this story and that there's a reason for this. Even if it's not for a long term, if it's just for just this short season of my life, it means something. It means something. And that's why I kept going. And that's why I'm going to keep going. But that's the short version of the story of how I came up with frequency braids. So yeah. I also named it frequency braids because it's literally in the name, because there's an energy behind these things, behind frequency braids. It's like it's meant to be a representation of your energy and your heartbeat. And it's a representation of just energy itself, like energy incarnate in a style of in a form of braids, quite literally. And so frequency is not just a name, but it's an energy behind it. I hope that makes sense. All right, anyways, let's get into it. All right, so now enough with all the stories and the talking. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first things first, there's a couple things that you need to know about frequency braids before you start doing frequency braids. So the first thing that you need to know is that they are going to scrunch up a little bit. So whatever length that you want them to be at for the final results, you have to do them lower than what you want. So meaning, if you want them to be at your butt, you're going to have to braid them down to like about 2 inches below your booty. If you want them to be at your knees, you're gonna have to braid them all the way down to your feet. Okay, like how you see this, these are subsequently longer than the actual braids. That's why I left a couple of these out so I can show you guys. So you have this, I did them longer than what they actually end up being over here. So this is all the way, these I want them at my butt, so I had to braid them all the way down to about 1 inch or 2 below my butt. So it is very imperative that they will scrunch up and they will get shorter after you start to, you know, tweeze them out or whatever. So I don't know what to call that process. I don't know, we're just gonna call them plucking, I don't know. So next is parting. When you are parting your hair, you do not want to part them too big and don't want to part them too small, because if you have too many sets of frequency braids on your head, it's going to look ugly. It's not going to be heavy or anything like that, but it's not going to look good. It's going to look like it's too much, if that makes any sense. So you want to part your hair like a good even amount. I don't know if y'all can see that, but part it to like, you know, a good even amount. Even a little, they could be a little bit bigger than this, you know, part it a little bit bigger than this, you know, but you don't do them too big or too small. I haven't done them jumbo yet, so I can't tell you guys how that would look like if you were to do like 8 sets of jumbo braids and then with frequency. Those would probably be pretty, but I gotta do it and then I'm gonna tell y'all about it to make sure like it's the same type of process. Of course it's gonna be the same process, but there might be a couple of differences, but I digress. So we're sticking with what we're doing now. So what we're doing now, parting. This is very, very important to make sure that you're gonna have a good ending results. Not too big, not too small. And also with the braid itself as well. You don't want it to be too skinny and you don't want it to be too fat. If it's too fat, your hair might come out. If it's too loose, and when I say too fat, first of all, let me say, when I say too fat, I'm meaning like it's not matching your hair texture. Like it's way bigger and thicker than your hair texture, or it's not meant, because your hair might come out, you know. So you got, but that you might be able to work around that. You really could just secure it a little bit more, but just don't make it like too, because, and then another thing you don't want to make it too big is also because these are gonna come out super, super, super big unless you're doing it jumbo. Again, we're gonna go back to that another day, another time, but this is just for these right here. So with these, you don't want to make them too skinny and you don't want to make them too thick, because if they're too skinny also, when you actually start doing the plucking, it is going to be absolutely irritating, because it's happened to me a couple of times, because these are feed-ins also, because when the parts that you feed it in at, where it's gonna ball up and knot up, and then when you try to release it, it's going to like barely release itself. Maybe some parts is going to be released and then some is going to harden, and then it's going to make it way harder to pull these out. So be very careful. So do them kind of like a medium. Even this like this, I'll say, you see how this is skinny down here, like this piece right here might give me issues, you know. It just might give me issues because of how small it is. And don't make them too tight. If you make it too tight, you're not really going to pull these out. You're not going to be able to pull them out. You're just not. And then you're going to have to loosen up your braids. Like this down here is a bit tight because originally I did not plan on doing frequency braids. I just planned on doing just regular knotless braids. But whatchamacallit, I told myself, nah, it's a good time to start doing them again. But these are a little bit skinnier and a bit tighter. And so I already did this before, but I had to go in and loosen the braids up a little bit. So if you ever do that, you'll just go in the middle, up and down to loosen it, because the braids kind of have to be just a little loose so it can have space and air to breathe when you're pulling it through. So that's very, very important to know. And lastly, when you are doing this, when you are doing it a little bit more up, I like to go a little bit further down, just a little bit down, but while you're up where your hair still is, be careful not to grab your actual hair, because then your actual hair is going to pull out and it's just going to stick out and it's not going to be cute. I mean, if it happens 1 or 2 times, that's okay. It happened to me like 1 or 2 times, and y'all can't tell because I tucked it in there. So you could tuck it in there. But if you pull out all of your actual real hair and not the braids, it's gonna look ugly. It's not gonna look good. It's not. So be mindful of that. That's kind of like a small detail you don't really think about until it actually happens, but just be mindful of that also as well. Okay. All right, so now that we got the little prerequisites out the way, let's go ahead and get into it, finally. Get close so you guys can see that. So my hair is up here. So we're going to start up here. And my hair is a little bit over here, you can see, because it's kind of colored. And I'm going to start on the end. And usually what I'll try to do is I'll go into the end piece of it, but not too... I don't want to go too thin out or too thick in. I kind of go in between. And when I say too thin, like if you pull out, you'll see, if you take the hair and you try to pull it in, it's too thin, it's just going to rip out. It's just going to rip out and you're just going to have ripped out pieces of hair. So I'd be mindful to make sure the piece is not too small but not too thick to where it can't come out, and then try to pull it out and up. I go out and up at the same time, and you see how the braid is, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's starting to scrunch up. You can see that it's starting to scrunch up, and this is what I mean. But this is also important because we're going to pull it back down. So we're going to pull this out as much as we can, because this is what kind of tight at the top, and this is why I also say it's important for it not to be too tight. And we're going to pull, and then sometimes they're easy, kind of like this. This is not really giving me issues. And then sometimes they might be a little bit tougher to come out depending on how you braided it. So what I'll do is I'll pull it up as much as I can. And I like to hear that little rip. Just the tiny detail is because hearing that tiny little rip knows that like it's coming out, it's being pulled out to a point to where it's not going to shrink back in. So... and also for it not to shrink, because before when I did this, I would just pull it out and then pull back down. If you pull back down, I'm going to show y'all, it's going to shrink. Oh, you bastard. This is the first time, y'all, that this is actually did this without shrinking. I think I'm getting better. But usually when I pull this down, this will shrink. But I guess not. It's because of the rips. Like when you hear the rips, like I said, also if you hear the rips, usually that means it's going to stay without shrinking. But let's see. But if not, I don't know. Let's see if it happens. So, but the whole point is to avoid it shrinking back in. You'll see what I mean if you're doing this, but you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to do that again though. And you'll see that as soon as you start pulling out the first one, these other ones are going to start popping out. These other ones are going to start popping out. And it's going to be random. Ignore them because it's also going to help achieve the look that you want to. And then from there, there's no specific uniform look in this. You know, you want to space them out, but don't put them too close together, and don't put them too far apart. You know, you want to space them out to where they kind of have like, you know, just like a good look, so that because at the end of the day, you're looking at the bigger picture. When you do all of these together and then they all get put together, they all end up looking like this. So you want to space them out like a good spacing. Let me see if I can, like this, right? This is random. there's nothing here. And usually I'm okay with this being nothing, absolutely nothing here except for this right here. All right here, usually I'll probably put something right here in the middle, but that's because it's already kind of like blended. It blends in really well with the rest of it. So it's kind of like, also use your discernment. But if you can see here with this one that's already pre-done, this one kind of shrunk a little bit, but it's already pre-done. And so you can see I spaced them out, but it's random. It's very random, my spacing. It's just when I do space them out, I just make sure to think to myself, don't make them too far apart and don't make them too close. That's what I'm thinking to myself when I'm doing these. Now, after that, usually what I'll do is if one of these start popping out and they pop out around usually an area where I would have already did one, I'm just going to use it and then pull on that, right? And then just pull on that. And sometimes I'll use my hand because the rat tail comb is just not enough. And then I'll just pull. Be careful to make sure you're not pulling too far, because if you pull too far, this is also where you kind of got to use your discernment and feel for it. But if you pull too far, the entire braid is going to come out. It's kind of happened a couple times. You just can't really tell like this. Right, actually, yeah, this is a perfect thing. This is where the braid came out, but you can't tell because I tied it back together. I had tied it right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I tied it right here back together because I pulled out too far and this entire thing came out. And if that happens, it just usually doesn't look good. But if it happens, you just tie them up together, but you don't want that to happen all the time. So be careful about how far out you're pulling it. So this is about good, and then I'll just hold it and then pull down, because remember, like I said before, these pieces are going to scrunch up. So you're going to hold that and then pull down, and then now you can continue with the rest of it. And then I also kind of like a pattern. This is literally, think about if you've never seen an if you've never seen an EKG machine, it's literally that heart monitor, that heartbeat monitor that you see. So that's what I think about. And also because it's random, like it spikes up, or it'll spike down, or it'll spike up random, or it'll be short and then it'll be long and then it'll be medium or short. Like, it's going based off your heartbeat. So kind of think about it like that too. It's like boop, 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 so it's not all supposed to be the same shape. Do not make them all the same shape. Like when I say shape, I mean like don't make them all long. Like some are long, some are short, some are fluffy, and then some might be messy. Like this one is, you can't really, I don't know if y'all can tell like that, but this one, it's a little messy. They don't have to be perfect as well. The imperfection is what kind of creates the whimsical look. So now that's done, and I'm going to go down a little bit further because I don't want it to be too close, because if this goes all the way down here, because this is also what will help me too sometimes, I'll take the loop that I already made and then see how far down it goes, and then I'll usually go probably one above that and then create the other loop from there. Now this is where it gets a little bit tighter and it's a little tough, because right here is where I did the feed-in braid. And right here is where the feed-in is, and you can tell because there's like a little, it's knotted up a little bit. So every time you would pull down, because those parts where you did the feed-in, it might knot up. And so this can only go so far. I ripped it a little bit, but if I keep going, it's going to rip. I can tell and I can feel it. So honestly, using your hands as a feeler are very important for this also. And then so you'll just pull down. And that's that. And then now I'm going to go all the way down here because I want it to have a good spaced out look. Because if it's nice and spaced out, when it finally comes together, it's all going to look balanced and even. So, and then I go left. I also go left and right and left. Right, left, right. Sometimes I'll do most of them on the right and then do 2 on the left. It's also about what feels right. When you see here, this is as far as this is going to go. This is not going to go any further. Also, do not hurt yourself. Don't force it. It's not going to go any further. Do not hurt yourself. You're going to get irritated with this style if you try. I promise you. So And sometimes, but what I'll also do is if it's not going, what I'll do to try is I'll take half of it or just a piece of it, because sometimes it's not going all the way because there's a knot. But I'll take a piece of it and then pull a little bit, and then it might go a little bit further. And then that's probably about it. And it might go a little bit further, just about that. And then I'll hold it and then pull the rest down. And then that's that. And if it's not going to go out any further, that's okay. Because also, like I said, we don't want everything to be the same size. So I'm going to go one more down here, pull up, and then usually when I get towards the end is when I'm kind of like a little bit looser with it, and I kind of let it be a little bit more messier down here, kind of like that. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I let it be a little bit messier, kind of like that as well. And then now you have a frequency braid, and that is quite literally the process. It's very easy. It is just, I mean, it's easy. It's just tedious. It's time consuming, and it does take determination. When I say determination and willpower, meaning you want this. You want this style, because when it gets irritating, because it might get irritating, for you to have the will to keep going to get the final results, because it's not going to be perfectly doing the process. Sometimes my hands get red, but yeah, sometimes they get red because I'm over here like literally pulling, and these things don't want to pull, you know. So it happens. And another thing I'll say, get you a strong rat tail comb. Get you a very, very, very strong rat tail comb. Get you one that's like $2, $3, $4, one that's thick like this. You see, this one's kind of thick. If you get them other like dollar store $2 ones, like they're gonna be thin and they will break. Trust me, okay. So y'all can see how thick that is. Get you a thick one of these, because them little itty bitty thin ones, they will not survive this process. Okay. They will not survive this process. Okay. So get you a thicker, make sure it's thicker, because this is absolutely essential. This is the most important tool for this hairstyle, is this. I've tried doing this style with other things when all my other rat tail combs broke. The cheaper ones that I had did not work. It did not work. So this is absolutely essential. Or just anything that's like sharp like this that you can have a good grip on, that can go in between the braids also. Something like this. I tried to do it with the crochet needle. It just, yeah. So far, this is the only tool that I found that could do that could do this. Okay. So definitely, I can't stress it enough. Your comb will break if it's not a good one. So don't say I didn't warn you and come back to me and be like, you broke all my rat tail combs, got me trying to do this frequency braid style. I warned you, okay? I warned you. I'm gonna do it one more time just to see if I run into any issues or anything, so that I could walk out through, because the first one honestly was kind of breezy, and I did not expect it to be that breezy, so it was smooth, honestly. So I'm gonna do this one because this one's a little bit skinnier, like how I was telling y'all before to be careful of doing them skinny. So I'm gonna do this one, see if I run into anything that I could kind of like tell y'all how to do. And sometimes also, now that I mention it, sometimes also if you do the top, sometimes I'll usually start probably like an inch or two down below, but if you ever do it all the way up on the top, it might be hard. Like it might be hard because the top is usually tighter than the rest of the braid, so it might be a little tough. So don't worry too much about that and just go out a little bit lower, and that's fine. So yeah, this is fine. And you pull, same thing, you pull, and the pulling, it might not be easy either, because you want to pull it, and you're not just pulling the braid, you're literally pulling that scrunched up part all the way back down and trying to straighten out the braid again. That's what you're trying to do, is straighten it out. So you don't want to just pull the braid down, because if that scrunched up part is still right here and you try to move on, it's not going to work. So with that there, put this all the way down here and try to pull up running. Yeah, see, it's tight, so it's barely, like you see, it's barely coming out. It's barely pulling, barely pulling. If I ever run into something like that, I'm not gonna force it too much. I'm gonna try the 2-3 different ways I know, which is pulling the hair and then taking a little bit out, pulling in, and then trying with my hands. And then if that don't work, then I just move on to the next one, or try to find another space that'll also kind of be, you know, incongruent with what I'm trying to go for. But the important thing is I don't want them to be too small or too long, but also at the same time don't want to stress out or trip about it. So we're gonna pull up. And you see this one's not pulling up. It's not pulling up because there's a knot here. I'm 100% sure it's because there's a knot here, because it's more than likely where I did the feed in and where I feeded in the part. If you don't know what I mean by feed in, if you just look up feed in braids, the method where you add braids as you're braiding. So there's usually going to be a part there where there's a braid that was put in there, and that's that part that can create a knot if it gets scrunched up. So and usually if that happens, see, it's kind of shrunk a little bit, and it's all right. And then I'll just try to go for one that's a little bit close to the one that I just tried, because I still wanted to give a certain illusion also, but not too far. But you see how that just shrunk? I don't know if y'all saw that kind of happened real fast, but it kind of just shrunk a little bit. And if it ever does that, I won't stop. I'm just going to keep pulling it until I get it all the way pulled as much as I can, and then I'll try and pull it again, and then boom, and bada bing, bada boom. And then now you might start seeing the braids get like clumped up like this. I don't know if y'all can see that. Oh no, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it might get like a little bit like clumped up in certain places, because sometimes when you try to pull it down, the knots are gonna get stuck. And what I'll do is I'll just pull them as much as I can, and if it won't go down too far down, don't worry about it, don't stress about it. Just find the areas that you can pull at and use those. Even if you gotta go all the way down to the bottom, it don't matter, because at the end of the day, if you keep up with that process with every single braid like this, you see it's starting to come up. It's barely, I haven't even gotten down here yet, but it doesn't matter, because if you keep up with that process of the braid, I'm going to use my rat tail comb to pull it down also. That's another thing I forgot to mention. You could use your rat tail comb to pull it down, because probably just your hands aren't enough. But yeah, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if the braid, if you do all the little process to each and every single one of them, you're still going to get the same end result. So yeah. And then I'll just scrunch that up. If it doesn't want to go down, I'll pull it up a little bit, honestly. Up a little bit, and you saw how that shrunk? This is what I mean by shrink. You saw how that just shrunk? All right. But anyways. Now I'm just going to move on, because I tried. I'm not going to keep focusing and forcing it. Nope, because if not, you will spend 30 minutes on one braid. And I'm not joking you. 30 minutes on one braid. Okay? So go ahead and do that. I love when I get to the ending, because the end be so easy, because everything then got loosened up already towards the end. And it's just, it's easy breezy going when you get to the end. And just like that. And there we go. And you see even how this is loose here or whatever, it doesn't matter, because these little pieces of imperfections are kind of also what you want, because it's going to create that fluffy, whimsical look when it comes to frequency braids. All right, y'all, I wish I had more for y'all, but that's really it, honestly. And if you stuck around and you watched the backstory and everything like that, I love you. Mwah, mwah. I really, really appreciate y'all, because the story matters to me. Anyways, so that's really it. That's basically everything. I think I went over everything that needed as far as like the prep, making sure your spacing is right, making sure that you're doing it lower than where you want it to be, because it's going to scrunch up. So braid it at least about 2 to 3 inches lower than where you want it at. Make sure it's not too skinny, like the braids themselves, not too skinny, not too fat. And we're talking about these, not jumper braids or anything like that, but not too skinny, not too fat. And then yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. Rat tail comb, and the comb, making sure your comb is a nice thick sturdy comb, because it will break if not. Okay, it will break. So and that's about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up these 3. I had kept them out because I thought I was gonna use them for a tutorial, but I really only needed 2, because doing the frequency braids is pretty easy. It just takes time and a little bit of dedication, because some parts you're gonna get to it might not be so smooth sailing. Some of them might be smooth sailing, and then some of them might be really, really irritating and might make you want to stop doing your hair. So I'm just being real. I always gotta keep it real, no matter what. I always keep it real. So whatchamacallit, yeah, but other than that, it's not necessarily a hard style. It's just tedious, you know. It's just a tedious style where the little details do matter, you know. They're not that big of a deal, but they absolutely do matter. And so anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna finish this up, do her up, put a little style or whatever, and then I'm gonna be back when I'm done. Okay, all right y'all, so this is her, this is she, this is the final results. And then of course you could style it in multiple different ways, but this is honestly one of my favorite styles, is doing the kind of like 2 little half pigtails and then having them up to the front, because it makes me like feel fairy like and whimsical and like a fairy. Yeah, but anyways, and you see, another thing I should point out, the ends, like how I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I like to leave the ends. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I like to leave some of the ends like out like this, or just like messy. I know I said I'd like to leave some of them a little bit messy, like this one has like, it's just, when I say messy, I mean like tangled up a little bit. So this one is a little tangled up, but some of them aren't. Some of them, like, I will only go a certain length, and then that kind of also gives it the whimsical type of effect that it also has. So anyways, so this is her, this is she. I'm really, really, really in love with the final results. I didn't know if I'd like the color or not, but I love it. Anyways, so I hope you guys liked it. Definitely like, subscribe, share. All of you, if you've made it all the way through the video, through the whole entire video, comment a green tree and let me know that you made it through the entire video, the entire whole video. But anyways, thank y'all so much. I definitely got more planned to be on the way. Stay tuned, stay hip, stay lit. And I love y'all. See y'all in another video.